Hi, I'm Corey, owner of Ohio Chimney Company and third generation certified chimney sweep.
And I'm Ross, I'm the general manager here at Ohio Chimney Company.
Last week, we got into the 3 bullet points of your chimney system: your structural, your fire appliance, and your heating appliance, and how to identify what parts of those systems.
This week we're going to really focus in on the heating appliance and why it's important to know and understand the venting of the heating appliances in your home and how to maybe even do some self-diagnosis and know when it's important to get some professional help involved.
So with any chimney system, an important part for us that we know as chimney sweeps, certified chimney sweeps, is that you should have an annual inspection of your chimney system, whether you only have the structural, the fire appliance, or heating appliances, or all of the above. It's actually a requirement in our National Fire Code that chimneys shall be inspected annually.
So today we're going to talk about the 3 most common indicators that your heating appliances aren't venting correctly. We're going to talk about your hot water heaters and how they might have an indicator. We're going to talk about efflorescence and then the chimney height requirements.
So that first one, hot water tank grommets. Anyone can go down in their basement. If you have a hot water tank that is either has a draft hood or natural vent, natural draft, gravity fed, a bunch of different ways of putting that. We're going to start with the hot water tank grommets. It's something that's very easy for any homeowner to go down in your basement and be able to check. When you go down into your basement, Northeast Ohio here we have basements. So if you're on the first floor, it's still the same thing. The in and the out, or the hot and the cold that's coming out of the top, you will see plastic grommets that are close to the vent. If those grommets are melted, then your byproducts combustion are not getting out of the chimney system properly and are venting into your home. If those are melted, you want to call a professional.
Another indicator is what's called efflorescence. You might be asking yourself, well, what's efflorescence? On the outside of a chimney, if you have a chimney that's on an exterior structure, a lot of times you might see a white substance or like a white line going down the chimney. Actually follows the flue. Similar to this brick. This brick has efflorescence on it.
This is a really intense example.
Yeah, super intense example there. It could be as simple as it almost looks like somebody took chalk dust and threw it in a line down your chimney. But that's definitely an indicator that there's a drafting problem. Efflorescence is a moisture problem. One of the byproducts of burning natural gas is actually moisture. And it's a very clear indicator that there's a draft problem.
So the third bullet point, that for the most common self-diagnosis issues, to be able to tell if it's likely that you have a backdraft issue or an issue with venting the byproducts out of the home, is your chimney height. We call it the 3-2-10 rule. The 3 is very simple. Your chimney's sticking up out of the roof. You're measuring from the bottom up, and this is a minimum requirement that the chimney has to be a minimum of 3 foot out of the roof line. The 2-10 comes in that your chimney has to be a minimum of 2 foot taller than anything within 10 feet. So I like to usually use my clipboard or something if I'm in a customer's home. But I have a ruler. If my chimney's over here, and this is the pitch of my house, okay? And my chimney's over here. If the peak is 10 foot away or closer, anything within 10 feet, I need to be 2 foot taller than that peak of any other part of the roof or anything that's within that 10 foot radius of the chimney. Now, if this is 20 foot away, I don't have to be 2 foot taller than 20 foot away, all right? I will only measure where it's 10 foot away and then come up 2 foot from that, okay? So, you'll often see on a house that has a very steep pitch and the chimney's on the outside of the house. The chimney will be super tall because the masons typically think, oh, I have to be taller than the peak, and it might not be accurate. Or they might think, I just need to stick out of the roof a little bit. Whether it's a masonry chimney or a B vent, which is a metal chimney, that minimum requirement still exists. and sometimes you only see it sticking out of the roof just a little bit. You want to make sure we have that minimum requirement met.
So a fourth indicator that's not really a true indicator of improper draft systems is your body. Some other indicators are headaches, fatigue. Exposure to carbon monoxide can result in carbon monoxide poisoning, and a lot of the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning are things that you would know about right away. If you have a carbon monoxide detector, a lot of times that's going to go off and you're already at the point of having symptoms. So by the time that carbon monoxide detector goes off, it's time to get out of the house and call the emergency services. Get your fire department down there. Have them run their meters.
Get out right now.
Get out if your carbon monoxide detector is at the point of going off.
We've had customers that called us that the doctor recommended that they have their systems looked at. They might have carbon monoxide poisoning, and that was accurate. We've had circumstances where we've come in the homes and we asked the customer if they were getting headaches because the system was very clearly not venting. And yeah, absolutely, we get headaches all the time, usually in the mornings or whatnot. And we come in, we correct the problem, make their system meet minimum requirements, and they've literally called us and said that they've been going to the doctors, going to figure out what it was, and now their symptoms, their issues are gone. So
yeah, it's great. We aren't medical professionals. We can't give you health advice, but we can come check out your chimney.
Absolutely, we can definitely let you know if your systems meet minimum requirements. There was a crazy one here recently. NPR did an article that correlated CO2 exposure to, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but hauntings and ghost sightings. You could Google that.
Yeah. So carbon monoxide detectors, as I mentioned earlier, they're not really designed to go off as like a first warning sign. They're designed to go off, at a point where it's time to leave the home.
Yeah, it's not a smoke detector. It's a carbon monoxide detector. So you don't want to, I got a little bit of time. No, we're going to reiterate this because it's important. You need to get out of the house as soon as that goes off.
Not to say that carbon monoxide detectors aren't a good indicator. I think that every home should have a carbon monoxide detector installed in the home on every level. But they're not an early warning sign. If the carbon monoxide detector is going off, exit the structure and get in touch with your emergency services. Sure.
We're going to recap over those 3 most common self-diagnostic tools for the homeowner. Number 1, your hot water tank grommets, if they're melted.
The efflorescence on the outside of your chimney, if it's present, there's a draft issue. And then the last one,
chimney height. Yeah, making sure it's the right height. So next week, we're going to cover another bullet point in further detail.
So just make sure you guys like, subscribe, give us some feedback, leave us some comments, and have a great week. Thanks.